Hello, my name is Donald Zachary Wormington, and I'm working with Dr. Kevin Mickus and Dr. Douglas Guzet from the Geology Department, and we are using resistivity and passive seismic geophysics to explore a cave and sinkhole system in Stone County, Missouri. Stone County, Missouri is located in the southwest portion of the state, and it's on the southwest portion of the Ozark Dome, and the subsurface here is karst, and what that basically means is a type of soluble rock that is easily dissolved by water. We have limestone, and that creates caves, sinkholes, streams, dissipating streams, and springs and things like that. And we're actually doing this study that was going to be on a cave called the Old Spanish Cave. And this used to be an old show cave that has since been closed. The new owner, though, has purchased it and wants to reopen it as a show cave. And it's a fairly large cave. That's one of its draws, but it's also called the Old Spanish Cave because it's rumored to hold old Spanish treasure in it. There's no real evidence that Spanish conquistadors came up this far, but, there is rumors that this cave has artifacts cached somewhere inside of it. What makes this cave unique is it is a collapsed cave. So that basically means like we had the cave, and then the ceiling collapsed in, or portions of the ceiling have collapsed in. And so when you're inside the cave, you're actually walking on the old breakdown from the old ceiling. And when that happens, you can bury old passages or things like that, and things get lost inside the cave. And that's the rumor of what's going on here, and that's like the draw of this cave. The owner also wants to try to connect it to some of the surrounding features, like sinkholes and disappearing streams and springs and things like that, to make his cave bigger, so it gives people a reason to come and look at it. If you look down the bottom left here, there is a hand-drawn map of the cave that was made in 1967. It's not really oriented in the surrounding area at all, so I've made a 3D surface map. That's called a hillshade, and then I've digitized a version of that map in yellow and put it where we think the cave is. And then you can also see other caves and sinkholes are indicated by little dots there. But then I also have 4 lines above the map, and those are my resistivity lines. There's A, B, C, and D. And what that is in resistivity geophysics, you take a line of electrodes and you put them in the ground. In this case, I used 64, and my lines were 180 meters in length. And what it does is you send a charge to each electrode kind of back and forth, and it uses that in the kind of little circle, little sphere that it makes, and it measures the resistivity of whatever is going on below it. And however long your line is, you can see about 25% of that in depth. So mine are almost, they're about 180 in length, so I can see almost like a little more than 100 feet down, and that's about where the cave is located in the subsurface. If you look at these lines, there's blue colors, yellows, and all the way into reds. The blue is non-resistive surfaces, so that's things like, that could be like water-filled chambers, which we have here. So if you think about it, if you have a toaster, you put that in the bathtub, that's dangerous because you'll get shocked because water does not resist the flow of electricity. But when you hold it in the air, you don't get electrocuted because air is highly resistive, and that's kind of what we're seeing here. The blue is where it's in spring when we took these readings, so the surface is saturated with water after rain, but that highly glowing red area is what we're thinking is air on the subsurface, so it's highly resistive, and that's where our cave is. And if you look at the lines, that kind of lines up, and that's what we see. And it looks like a lot of red at the bottom there because, like I said, this is a very large cave. It's a big system. And what's neat is in line D there, we have that little chimney kind of look. That was taken right next to the sinkhole that's pictured below, and that sinkhole is about 20 meters around and about 15 meters deep. And we kind of thought maybe there was a problem with the data, that red that's sticking up right in the middle, but it turns out that looks like that's the roof of the cave. The roof of this cave is almost like a cathedral. It looks like it comes right up to the surface where that sinkhole is going down, so you almost have another entrance to the cave there. More data needs to be collected to make sure this is right, though, but it seems like the cave is like right there at the surface. We are also using passive seismic geophysics, and seismic geophysics is basically taking sound to look at what's in the subsurface. If you've seen Jurassic Park, when that scene where they kind of shoot the ground and they use the reflections to get the picture of the velociraptor before he scares the kid, that's basically what it is. That's highly fantasized, but that's kind of what's going on. But instead of making an active sound in passive geophysics to go down and look on the ground, we use the ambient sound, which is normally a problem. You have all these noises in your data, it causes a problem with your model. But we are using that noise and the sound to put our little machine down, and it sits for like 10 to 20 minutes, and then it takes a reading and uses that data to make a model. But if you look on the right there, we kind of have that large hump on our readings there. That's not good. That's kind of like going into the forest and listening for a raccoon, but then you hear an elephant in the background. That's just noise within the noise. We got to find a way to get rid of that. But when we do that, I'm going to take some more resistivity lines, kind of going east and west, north and south, to make a nice grid, and we'll use that to get a base reading, a 3D model of the cave, and then use that in other portions of the property, and hopefully find these collapsed cave passages or other cave passages that connect and make the cave bigger, which will give the owner a reason to reopen the cave and show it to people. All right, thank you very much.